Okay.
Okay, time to our study.
Time for our study time.
Thank you for Paul Fisher first, because we watched a lot over his research, who is a Korean streamer, very famous over math and statics or everything.
So, tier 4 bracelets. How much damage can I gain and when should I swap it? Easy questions. Kappa. But first, where do we get them? Also, very easy. You can get the ancient bracelets in Chaos Dungeon and Bracelet Raid in the 1680. Actually, Kosan Front, not Chaos Dungeon. Sorry. And the relic ones you can get in the 1640 Kosan Front. And also with lovely Bracelet in normal mode. So you can get them already when you're on a 1640 character. Don't need to be 1670.
Yup.
So, biggest question, when can you transition to an ancient bracelet? Oh, I didn't show the Guardian raid, you're absolutely right. Okay, anyways. So, an ancient bracelet provides you with lovely 18 leap points. And there, if you get 18 leap points, you can actually already enable your first node on tier 2, on level 2 of your leap skill tree. And I tested it with my Igniter's Hawk, and only because of the leap point, I already get 7% more damage. And I compared 10 runs, but you know, for your class, you obviously would need to test how much your second leap skill row affects your damage.
Always test by yourself your class.
This is literally only for my Igniter's Hawk specifically. Which for me then is the conclusion that as soon as I get a tier 4 bracelet, which is somewhat acceptable, I can switch very fast because I get the 7% damage increase. So yeah, I need a tier 4 bracelet, which gives me a little bit more damage only. But very important, if you want to swap, you need to check your breaking points for spec, crypt, or swift. If I get a bracelet which doesn't have spec on it, then most likely I will not be able to use it because it will ruin my igniter cycle. And that's definitely not going to end up in more damage. So for relic bracelets, it's a little bit different because you only get 9 leap points. So you need to clear gate 1 Bracelet first, and then you get 1 point from the karma system, and then you can get the also the second row, and then it's essentially the same as in an ancient bracelet. Memo also mentioned this in his video. So conclusion, after clearing Bracelet normal modes, get 1 leap point from karma system and switch the bracelet if the bracelet itself does not have a damage difference of 7% compared to the tier 3 one.
So our conclusion is you can immediately swap all your bracelet tier 4 from tier 3.
If it's not complete garbage. Yeah. And then how do you even know how you have more damage than your tier 4 bracelet? And I don't know if you guys were using this, but I was always using this lovely sheet here, Flashbang Alert again.
Ouch.
Where I calculated the value, the damage value of my bracelet. But you have to put all your stats, etc. in if you want to know. So I get 9.7%. So in essence, I only need a tier 4 bracelet, which gives me a 2.7% damage increase, and then I can already switch to the ancient one. So I can almost use any bracelet. Because my tier 3 bracelet is not really great. I mean, I've seen people who have like 15% damage increase. Okay. Next. Best options for your tier 4 bracelets. I mean, if you already watched Memo's video where he was generally talking about what is the best. But Portia also calculated the damage values you get. And it's to be noted that he, of course, calculated this all with a specific build. So depending on your character, as always, the damage numbers might vary a bit. It's just a little bit of a disclaimer. For example, the crit rate, very important to note about the crit rate and the crit damage. So if you play Blunt Thorn and you're not at the at the cap of what was it, 70 crits, then a crit rate will always give you more damage than crit hit damage because of how Blunt Thorn functions. Because it gives you the 140% damage based on your crit rate. So 5% of crit rate is actually 7% of damage. So in this case, with every Blunt Thorn character, crit rate you would benefit much more compared to crit damage.
And also, Jocario, that's correct. The between over legendary, epic, and rare, the percentage is not that big like tier 3. So it's really important that you have a right effect, then you get a legendary or epic. Even rare one is still freaking good.
Especially if it's from the different categories, from the higher tiers. And everything until tier 1 and tier 2 is definitely an ability you want, and afterwards you see that it drops quite significantly in terms of damage. And you also have some trash ones like attack and movement speed.
So tier 5 is technically additional damage is kind of fine. And also dexterity, intelligence, strength, also it was 19,000 from 5,000 before in tier 3. So this is also already 1.8% increase. But there is attack and movement speed is kind of meh because of support, and there is a arrow and wardens, those kind of class also giving buff. So you can't say all class taking, even legendary, 1.8% increase. So the last effect kind of, can't say it's great.
Yeah, there's so many classes who get additional attack and movement speed also from the arc passive nowadays that the attack and movement speed is usually something you want to avoid having.
If you wanna have this speed, then you should pray over getting upper one. On success, hit weapon power plus attack and movement speed.
And also one more thing to note, back attack and front attack skill damage. This is not meaning you have to land a back attack, but if you use a back attack skill, then the damage is increased.
So even you use back attack skill in front attack, still is effect on over 2.25 or 2.7 or 3.15. So much better than tier 3 for sure.
Chip. So, should you sell the bracelets? Obviously the answer is you have to make the decision for yourself, but I remember when I sold tier 3 bracelets at the time with like high spec and crit values, they sold for like 30 to 100,000 golds. So the assumption for me is that there will be whales who will spend shitloads of golds for bracelet gamba. So you can definitely make some profit here if you get high spec and crit or swiftness values. And they will probably go down in price later. But you have to choose for yourself if you desperately want a high damage bracelet or not. And this brings me to the possibility of getting a best in slot option for tier 3. It was 11.7%. That's only one option on your full bracelet. But in tier 4, you have a 17% chance. So the tier 4 bracelets are also giving you a little bit of a better chance. I mean, not a little bit, 6%, to actually get at least one of the great abilities you want. So it's not so bad, but in the end, your choice if you want to make gold or not. So, what kind of bracelet are you looking for?
Actually, this is the most important, right?
And we did some examples here. So this here would be the God roll. This is crit and spec on like almost completely high, and you have the best 3 abilities as legendary. And that would give you shitloads of damage, as you can see. But the chances for this, they are somewhere below 0.0002 something. So it's almost impossible to get this. If you get it, then go playing Lotto because,
No, you already used your luck.
Yeah, you already used your luck.
Lotto.
True. Then a little bit more realistic one. is this one here, where we just put 2 to tier 3 times a tier 2 to 4 middle roll, including your combat stats, and this gives you around 14% damage. And another one, just to showcase, if you have one tier 1 low roll and one tier 2 4 low roll, it also gives you around 14% damage, including the combat stats. And this is also kind of your goal. You want to be around 13 to 15% because these abilities here are somewhat realistic. It is realistic to get like a low roll on one of the tier 1 ones, and also to get then from a lower tier another low one.
So let's say if you make already 13 to 15 between that, you can use the bracelet.
You technically would not have to touch.
Time.
Yeah, you technically don't have to touch it anymore. But obviously, if you get them, you can just keep rolling. Keep rolling. Okay. And when should you use your stupid reroll tickets?
So the ticket, apparently we can get for first clear in normal mode, hard mode, you can get 3. And you can somehow in NPC also exchange that.
But you need the karma elixir bottles to exchange it,
so
and you will need them.
Make postpone over your karma system. You can buy this ticket. It's per roster, per character forever. So you can buy it, but also you don't have to buy it right now. And first week people can get like 5 and 6 and thinking like, oh my God, I have so much ticket, I can use it. But absolutely, you shouldn't.
And there's also an auction at the end of the raid in Belshazzar, which is only for whales, but that's a different story.
So only this case, it's better you use your ticket.
Yeah, and you should definitely not use... No, wait, let's start at the beginning. Only use a reroll ticket if you already have your combat stats on the bracelet you want to use, and don't gamba for getting swiftness or whatever you need. This should already be fixed. But also don't use it when you have only tier 3 to 5 options. You should always have at least one option of tier 1 or 2. It doesn't matter if it's high or middle, but one of them you should definitely have.
Doesn't matter even lower one. But if you don't have any tier 1 and 2, then don't use ticket on that bracelet.
Then, yeah, this is also one of the options when you would roll it. You have one tier 1 roll and one already of tier 3 to 5, and then you can just re-roll and try to get something else on top. Because if you already have 2 good ones, like usable ones, then it's definitely worth to trying to go for another one. And the second one is, if you only have one ability on tier 1 or 2 of a relic bracelet, you can use the ticket to get another good option and then upgrade it to ancient, because then you have another 4 rolls to try to get another 1 to 5 option.
But in this time, even you use the ticket, you can only 3 times using ticket on that bracelet. But if you reroll on relic, then you only left 2 times in ancient. So deducted the reroll ticket time, even you upgrade.
It's not refreshing. Yep.
It's not refreshing.
And if you don't get a tier 1 to 5 ability, but you got like dexterity in strength, whatever your class needs, then keep it and don't roll for something else, because if you get something like attack speed or movement speed, it's just completely useless. So use your brain before you use them. And that's already it.